So, good morning, nuts and bolts listeners. Here we are on another Friday morning, and I hope you had an amazing week and overcame all the turbulation of this fascinating load shedding. Today, you are getting a double whammy because I'm introducing my name friend, Kirstin Bosworth. So you've got two Kirstins here. Can't be a better session. I mean, seriously. With two people with the same name, it's going to be fantastic. Kirstin is a dear friend of mine from an international network that I participate in. She is just phenomenal and an absolute whiz kid, if I can call her that, when it comes to Microsoft. And what she can pull out of that is fascinating. And what you all know or don't know about it is something else. So she will be here today to tell you lots of tips and tricks about that. But what I really appreciate about Kirsten is her approach to life, where she wants to empower you to actually use technology better, and that too you can maximize using the tools that we have, get less frustrated about it, and improve your time management, because we have all these systems and apps, but I guess we just don't know how to use them. We're not the best users. We find out ourselves, and we don't always learn the best ways. So she's here today to teach you, to empower you on how to really get the max out of Microsoft, which we all sometimes know we go, grudge purchase, another license to pay for. But if you really understand what this technology can do, it's mind blowing. So I'm going to hand over to Kirsten, and she will take us through a fascinating 20 minutes. So welcome, Kirsten, and the floor is all yours.
Thank you so much, Kirstin. And feel no pressure with that awesome introduction. I feel like I now should, as my opening line, move a low orbiting satellite or something. Thank you so much, Kirstin, for that very warm and encouraging introduction.
You're welcome.
Yes, we do have the technology. And as leaders in our own business or in our business unit, we have, like you said, had a grudge buy. We have bought Microsoft, probably Microsoft 365 for business, because literally the whole world is doing business on Microsoft. For me, what has become frustrating over the years is that I've just been able to see what Microsoft has to offer, the features, the benefits of what is available in all of their applications. And it frustrates me that people don't have the time to find out. Everyone's sitting behind the keyboard trying to get their work done, trying to reach that deadline, typing away furiously to get everything done as quickly and as fast as possible, because everybody has so much pressure on them to perform and to be the best and to be out front. And what hasn't happened over the years is, unfortunately, a lot of people behind their keyboard haven't taken time out to actually literally press every single button that is available in the Microsoft applications. So that's where I come in. That's what I do. I go around and I press every single button, and I find out what secret Microsoft has coded behind that particular button. What were they thinking? What was the plan, the big idea behind the technology that they've created? And how does it slot into the family of applications that they have created? So if we have a look at Microsoft 365, ladies and gentlemen, that is just a snapshot of the applications that are actually available in this family from Microsoft. Microsoft has literally, the hints in the name, they've given us everything to keep us technologically driven for 365 days of the year. There was a Harvard Business Review published earlier this year. It was written by Seth Payton, who is the GM at Microsoft 365, and Brad Anderson, who's president of products and services at Qualtrics. In their research, they state that employees are 230% more engaged and 85% more likely to stay employed with you for longer than 3 years if they feel the technology supports them. So the question we should be asking as leaders is, do our employees have the right tools and the right technology to do their job, especially in this brand new hybrid or remote working environment that we are all currently consumed by? We should never assume as leaders that they have the right tools and technology. We actually should be asking the question, do you have the right tools and technology to get the job done? Microsoft 365 has all of those tools. We have the technology. And what I'd like to just show you this morning is how we now use all of these applications to make life easier, to get things done efficiently and effectively. So if we have a look, when you receive work or you are allocated work, whether you are a leader or part of a team, the first thing that arrives is obviously that email in your inbox. As that email arrives in your inbox, and Kirstin, we can just move on to the next slide so I can show the flow of work. All good. As that email arrives in your inbox, you have now been tasked. A client has asked for something, a service or a product, or someone, your leader, your team leader, has asked you to complete some sort of activity. We now treat our inbox as we used to treat those traditional plastic trays, or if you were in management, the wooden trays that stood on top of your desk box, on top of your desk. They're sitting, those ones that sat on top of your desk. So as that piece of paper flies into that in tray, now we have to start working. It's very easy. All you do is click on that email and drag it onto the calendar icon in Microsoft Outlook. And it automatically now asks you, how much time would you like to allocate in your calendar to get this task done? It creates an actual appointment in your calendar. And you can now allocate time when you are actually going to do this work that's been requested of you. You can invite others to join you or let them know that this is what you are about to work on. But the purpose of the Microsoft Calendar is not an appointment book. The purpose of the Microsoft Calendar is actually a time management tool. Everything we do in our daily lives should be reflected in that calendar so that we can better manage reaching those deadlines, so that we're not all rushing around in the 11th hour. I'm sure, Kirstin, you've come to realize over time that if it's not in the calendar, it's not going to happen. I used to tease my children, if you want me to pick you up from school, make sure it's in my calendar. Otherwise, you're going to be walking home. So we've allocated the time in the calendar to actually do that work. If we go back to our inbox and we take that same email and we drag it onto the contacts icon in Microsoft Outlook, it immediately creates a contact card for that customer. Their email address has already been captured. You can then tidy up all the other details because there's a copy of that email message in the notes section. You can drag and drop their landline number, their web address, their Facebook details, their LinkedIn details, all into that contact card.
Wow.
Now, Microsoft Outlook is actually becoming your first CRM system for your business. Customer relationships are vital in any business, and it's become a huge buzzword and a critical requirement in business today. So by making sure that every single email you receive actually becomes somebody that you know and is saved in your contacts, will save time and money going forward. Plus, it always gives you the opportunity to stay in contact with that person. Now that I have got a time allocated in my calendar, I've got the contact details of that person, so I'm not going to lose them. The next thing I'm going to do is now actually task either myself to do the work. And to do that, what I can do is click on back in that inbox, click on that email and drag it onto the tasks icon in Microsoft Outlook. And now it's automatically going to, again, put a copy of that email message in the body of that task and allow me to now actually set up reminders, whether they are repetitive reminders or a once-off reminder. I can also, with this task, delegate it to somebody else in my team so that they can actually help me work on this project. And I could go into Microsoft's To-Do. In Microsoft's To-Do, we create a list. In other words, it has a title of what the project is. And underneath it, this, just like we've all learned and experienced in project management, we break up that major task into bite-sized, smaller chunks. And we're able to do that in Microsoft's to-do lists. The power behind a Microsoft to-do list is that you can now share that list. And you can share that with multiple people. So you can create an actual task in to-do, break that list up into little bite sizes, and share that list so that it's live in everybody else's to-do list in your team. Therefore, holding each other accountable as well as holding each other responsible for what needs to be done. The amazing thing is now we haven't even broken out. Okay, we've broken out of Microsoft Outlook for a moment to create a to-do list. But all of this has happened in the planning and the preparation for our work has all happened in Microsoft Outlook. Microsoft Outlook is not an email package. Microsoft Outlook is a business tool that should be used on a daily basis to the full features and benefits that it offers. If we're now working on the project, we have an awesome free app that Microsoft has added to the 365 family, and that's called Power Automate. Power Automate does not require programming skills. All it does require from you is the ability to drag and drop. And you literally can now drag any sort of feature like receive an email, save a new document into Teams or OneDrive, anything that will be a trigger. And then you can drag and drop what you want to happen underneath that. Save your flow and implement your flow so that you're not caught up doing the little checks, the follow-ups on emails to make sure somebody's emailed you. The system has a brain that is phenomenally powerful, and Microsoft is making the most of that. Let the machine do the work, not you do all the stressing and worrying. Now that we're all working together, when we move into Microsoft Teams on this particular project, we can have chats and conversations. We can have calls. We can save all the files that are relevant to this particular project, all in one place. We can share a calendar in Microsoft Teams so that the project timeline is actually mapped out for everybody that is part of that team. If we need customer input, we can invite them to join our internal team. So right from the start of receiving that single email, right through to time management, customer relationship management, getting things done, automating it, project management and collaboration has all happened just with a few of the Microsoft 365 apps. Kirstin, if we go on to the next slide.
Yeah, I'm just going to say for a moment, wow, because I think most people are duplicating work, having it on different apps. I don't know this, so then they've got a diary, a to-do list, running it manually. This doesn't talk to this, and just listening to this, it's like, why did I not know this? And I think it's just faster and streamlines things, you know. So I'm
And
just,
not and things don't get lost through the cracks,
yeah,
because it's all centralized, it's all in one place. It's either going to be in Outlook or it's going to be in Microsoft Teams. I don't, exactly like you say, have to go looking for pieces of paper for that little book that I used on that day because it was my birthday, or another third party app. So it definitely increases our productivity and removes so much stress and worry from our daily lives. And if we have a look at the next slide, Kirsten, this is only a portion of what Microsoft 365 has to offer. So we've only used part of the applications. If we have a look at the next slide, we now actually got to do the work for the client. And Microsoft has not forgotten about that part. We are able to collect all of the data using Microsoft Forms. Any data from any internal or external source will be collected in your forms. We can collate all of this research into our OneNote notebooks, page after page. And OneNote, the beautiful thing about OneNote notebooks is they can be messy and disorganized, just like your desk will look like when you're doing serious research and a lot of reading and referring to various resources. OneNote serves that purpose so beautifully. A secret about OneNote is if you drop a photo, any sort of image file into OneNote, any sort of picture, you can ask OneNote to copy all of the text out of that picture and paste it as raw text into OneNote. So you can actually edit it, play around with it. You don't
wow.
actually need the original document. Then you're going to now have your bright idea. You know exactly what you want to propose. So you are going to speak to your machine in Microsoft Word. You are going to dictate your proposal because you want to be creative. You want the passion to come through, and you don't want to be caught up with spelling and grammar and everything else that goes with it while these beautiful ideas are flowing. Afterwards, we'll clean it up. That's what Microsoft's editor is about. We'll clean it up later. We'll calculate the costings in Microsoft Excel because that's what that spreadsheet is for, to work out how much you are going to make from this exercise. To present to the client, we're going to summarize everything in PowerPoint. And we might even leave that word proposal behind as a takeaway for them to have more detail. But we are going to use PowerPoint to summarize, to present the key points, the big idea, the takeaway that's going to convince that client to work with you and to do more business with you. If you want to motivate the staff and get them involved with change management or to introduce them to how awesome your product is, you're going to create a Microsoft Sway, which is an awesome automated dynamic PDF environment where the pages turn and you can swipe up and down, left and right, and have moving graphics. Basically, PDF on steroids, on Microsoft steroids. And remember, we need to have all of this in one place. So either we're going to keep everything in Microsoft's OneDrive, or if your company is a little bit bigger, in Microsoft SharePoint. The beautiful thing about OneDrive and SharePoint is it's in the cloud. You can access it. You and your team can access it anywhere in the world, remotely or in the office, whether you are working hybrid or a full week. Everybody now has access to everything that relates to this particular client. And this was all done, all created, all completed, and hopefully, leaders, your business deal successfully concluded with one family of applications, Microsoft 365. So if we have a look at the next slide, you'll see that we have almost used every single application in Microsoft 365. You might want to make a Skype call just to boast to somebody or to show them what you created. And if you are showing it to your family and it might not be age appropriate, then maybe click on the family safety. And those are the only two little apps that we've left out of your business process as a leader of a team or as a leader of a business unit. It is phenomenal how Microsoft speaks literally to every step you take in your daily activities. And by having it all in one place and knowing the shortcuts, the tips, the tricks in each application, your day becomes so much more productive, less stressful, and at the end of the day, makes you more happy. Kirsten, I'd like to just end off with the fact that Microsoft themselves did a deep dive research recently and published their results actually earlier this month. What they discovered in their deep dive is that their 31,000 employees want 5 fewer hours in a work week. They want 5 fewer hours collaborating. And they want 3 more hours to focus on their own work. In conclusion, your team, your employees will possibly be more happier at work if us as leaders gave them the correct technology and tools with the tips and tricks on how to use them, but more importantly, the time to actually do the work that you have asked of them. And with Microsoft, you have the technology. You've already bought it. We don't have to buy any more. It is all there.
All I can say, Kirsten, is wow, wow. And I think for myself, I've realized that Microsoft is like a Formula One car. And I think maybe I've been using it a bit like a bicycle. So I have not maximized its full potential, not even knowing that some of these things exist. And I'm sure many people are exactly in that same space. They just do not know the power of Microsoft, or they've played with it and it didn't quite do what it wanted to. So they gave up on it and brought in another app, and it's just causing a lot of frustration. And then realizing we're spending so much time that is senseless and pointless, and we're duplicating stuff. So we're really not working smarter, but harder. And like you said, technology's out there
Yep.
and we're just not utilizing it. So I'm convinced I'm going to send myself and my team to you to a Microsoft training. We need to understand this way more to become more savvy at Four Seeds. So, but if anybody else wants to reach out to Kirsten, I'm going to put her email address and contact details into the chats after the call. And please feel free to reach out to her. She does, I think it's training you'd offer for individuals or companies. She's got packages so that she can empower you and show you how it actually works. And then she'll leave you and you are able to do this all by yourself. But I think we all could use with becoming more savvy on how Microsoft 365 actually works. Like you say, they've applied themselves. We just maybe haven't applied ourselves as the end user.
Uh, Kirsten, I think it's just because we've got other stuff going on. But if what are one of the 7 habits? If we sharpen our saw, we become so much more impactful and productive in our day. So yes, that's my job. I'm the one that's standing here waiting to sharpen your saw for you. That's what I do.
Yeah, and I think we all could use that. So thank you. Thank you so much for coming onto the call today. Nuts and bolts listeners, thank you so much for tuning in again. This was a phenomenal session, and I'm sure eye-opening for all of you. And I think everybody's going to go and click a few more buttons on their keyboards today. Or look at some of these apps and see what they actually do or don't do. But Kirsten, I do hope your phone rings off the hook and you get lots of people asking on how they can do this smarter and savvier. So thank you so much for joining us. We've gone again a little bit over time, but I thought this was absolutely worth sharing. So until next week, everybody, where we will be talking about a hybrid online meeting etiquette, another topic that's perhaps become a little bit more interesting on how do we actually behave in online meetings, what's acceptable and what's not. And I look forward to seeing you all then. Have a blessed week and stay well and warm. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye. Bye, Kirstin. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye. Bye.